I'll be building a Duke 390 2018. I'm getting some questions about the bike setup and what I'm going to be doing, but I decided to make a video showing you from the very start of the project all the way to the very end, where we do a photo shoot with the bike. So follow along if you like. If you've got any questions, feel free to message me. I'll try to get to them as I can, and I'll be keeping track of this build daily. Anti-seize, I'm going to throw that in for sure, help this go in a little bit better. So, you got to be careful with these guys. So what I do is I just, a piece of aluminum, I just get started. Nice and even. And then when this goes on the steering stem of the bike, obviously they'll be lubed up. It'll be a nice, smooth. Okay, so steering stem nut, it's going to go down. I'm going to torque that down to the specs, but I took out the key. That was a pain, and as many of you may know, they're pins, so I actually going to use some bolts to put this back in so I can take it in and out if I need to in the future. Okay, here's the tricky part. I need to get this around this. So we'll see if we can get that done. If I can get that on today, that'll be a good day. As the suspension, the bearings are done, handlebars are on, so we'll see if we can get that done. Stay tuned. So now that I have the bike up, what I did was I upgraded the spark plug to an NGK Iridium plug. It's supposed to run cooler. If you guys are looking for the part number, it is LKAR8AI-9. That's what I'm using. Don't get mad at me if it doesn't work on your bike, but it's supposed to help with starting this thing up when it gets warm. So this is the part that's not fun. It's the wiring part. It's going to take me a bit of time, so I'm not going to force you guys to watch me through the whole thing, but hopefully I can get through this today and get this thing mounted up, and that'll be a great accomplishment for the day.
Okay, so I've got the frame situated on the top of the engine. We're doing pretty good. Got the back swing arm on. It has been a while, but I'm taking my time trying to wire this thing up and do it correctly. I'm waiting on some Samco hoses that are supposed to bring the running temperature down as well as the front sprocket. So while I'm doing that, I'm just making sure the wiring's done correctly, and it could be a little bit tedious, but I think it'll be worth it in the end when it's all cleaned up and looks nice and the wires are not hanging out everywhere. I'm just trying to make sure all my grounds are correct. The ABS still has to be hooked up, so I have some work to do, but it's going together so far. It's not that bad. It looks pretty nice right now, but I'm hoping it looks better in the end, so stay tuned.
A few moments later.
Okay, so next, let's see here. I'm going to wire this fan up into key fed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hot, run it up to my key, and then I'm going to run the ground to the ground. And so when I turn the key on, the fan's going to spin on, which in return is going to keep my bike cooler when I'm performing in parking lots or whatnot. So that's next. Okay, so next I'm wiring up my fan to my key. I call it key fed hot, so when I turn the bike on, the fan fires up and starts cooling the bike down, and helps out to keep the temperatures down for performances. So I'm going to be soldering this one.
Let that cool down, and then I'll jump up here. I wired it in already. I'm going to put what did I put in there, 5? I might jump it up to a 10 fuse, but it's in line, so if something pops, it hits the fuse first and doesn't cause any problems to the bike.
This wire's a little thicker, so it's going to need a little bit more time. Pretty good. Okay, so what's made this project go a little bit faster than previous projects I've had was I've learned to get baggies and label everything. It might seem a little bit time consuming at the front of the project, but as you can see at the tail end of the project, things go a lot faster. So I'm going to put this radiator in here.
Yep, there's that.
Okay, so I'm trying to choose between the two. Competition Works, in my opinion, is one of the best exhaust manufacturers out there. They're from Oregon, so they're in the States, so I support them, and they support me. I like the power they make, even on the Z125 that they sent me an exhaust for, but I'm trying to figure out if I should run a high mount or in the frame. I've tried the in the frame, it's nice. I'm thinking about trying this boy out today. We'll see what happens.
Alright, ceramic coated the header, keeping the temperatures down and obviously trying to get more horsepower out of this thing. So it's got a copper washer. So I just hand tight these to start. I want to make sure this comes down evenly so it has a nice seal on the gasket. Okay. Not bad, looks pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to finish up today with the radiator I mounted up. Mounted up the radiator, installed the header. It's ceramic coated to keep down the temperature. Got the sensor on there. About a quarter of the wiring has been done. Let's see, waiting on a sprocket to come in. Put the rear sets on, made some pegs custom that are super grippy. I don't know if you can see it, but got the handlebars, got the steering head bearings on there. So it's coming along nicely. I think tomorrow I can get a little bit more done with the wiring. If I can get the wiring done by the weekend, I'd be happy, but have to take my time, make sure everything's done correctly, so when I'm finished and I go to fire up the bike, it runs. So thanks for checking it out. I'll be continuing this build tomorrow.